As one Saint Lucian parent takes his child's school to court over hair policies, parents in Jamaica are turning to the media after scores of children at one high school were allegedly barred from the compound for uniform infractions at the beginning of this week. Enraged parents and guardians thronged outside the Godfrey Stewart High School in the parish of Westmoreland, with some accusing the school of leaving their children to fend for themselves on the streets.
See them, if you have fully back yourself. See them. Sorry, I'm in your camera. See it, camera. And wicked teacher, they wicked. I said, person pull over, but they need up.
So what would you like to be done about this? What would you like to be done?
Principal have to do something. How could you take your pants and put it over and put the knees up? And I tell her, say, I saw everywhere. How wicked the teacher, they are wicked. 1 or 2 years in a go school, take a corona. Put in him through school compound. I understand. A lot of them uniform take up and look away. It's not on the school rule. But we want to look good like my son, let him through.
How do you feel? Tell me, express your emotions.
Can you hear me face me angry, me vexed. Because when me look at see teacher send me penny for school, and anything could have happened to him. He not got no text in high school group. Nothing. Me upset, me couldn't believe it. How you text people penny for pull up and need it so. He said pants not appropriate, so she tell me to get her name.
School administrators have since defended their decision to leave the scores of children outside, saying that the updated uniform policy, particularly surrounding the length of female students' skirts, was about child safety. Speaking to the Jamaica Observer, principal of Godfrey Stewart High, Emily Lawrence Ricketts, contended that requiring skirts reach no more than 5 inches above the ankle deterred predators that lurked on taxi and bus stands from molesting the minor students. Quote, "When the uniforms are short, they tend to touch the students. There has been a surge in molestation cases at the institution because of the public transportation," the principal argued. Jamaican press are referring to the phenomenon of children being denied access to schooling because of their clothing as a uniform crisis. There have been several incidents, including last week at Holland High in Trelawney, where students were blocked from attending classes due to uniform and hair policy violations. Some boys were flagged for pants deemed too tight, while female students were dinged on their choice of hairstyle. Uniform checks at secondary schools in Caribbean islands are not uncommon. Some school faculty argue that these are necessary to have a sense of uniformity and discipline among students. Having students similarly dressed is thought to also reduce social disputes and smooth over income disparities, where some students may not be able to keep up with more well-off classmates who might adorn themselves in the newest fashions. According to a perspective piece on Caribbean Opus, an online jobs board that also offers development tools and support, school uniforms, quote, "promote students' loyalty and reduce their tendency to be violent." It is also noted within that same article that school uniforms lessen clothing expenses for parents, promote effective learning for students, and prepare students for the world of work. Schools in the Caribbean have abided by uniform policies for a long time, but public sentiment might be shifting, especially in the aftermath of COVID-19, when students have had to endure months of learning disruptions and uneven access to education. Now that in-person classes have resumed across the region, some parents see uniform policies where children can be further barred from learning activities because of skirts an inch or two short or pants that hug the legs too tightly as being overly restrictive. Not only are some parents and guardians questioning the wisdom of having policies subjectively enforced by individual school principals, but in today's inflationary environment, others are concerned about strict requirements for particular materials, where certain similar materials, which might cost less or be more easily obtained, are not allowed. This week, Jamaican authorities weighed in on the uniform policy issues.
What is a school if our children are denied an education by virtue of being locked out of schools? What good is our motto as a nation that says every child can learn, every child must learn, again if children are periodically locked out of school? It is completely unnecessary that we police the length of our students' dresses and skirts, and whether a child's skirt resembles that of the chairman who spoke before me, that it does not deter them from getting an education. It does not. what deters our children from getting an education is when we lock them out of the schools, is when we send them back home into the streets and leave them to all sorts of dangers that lurk.
Meanwhile, Fayval Williams, Jamaica's education minister, admonished parents unhappy with school uniform policies to attend PTA meetings and speak to the principals, not just, quote, come in and cuss. She questioned where students would learn discipline if not in schools. Williams then expressed her ministry's explicit support of the stance taken by the principal of the Godfrey Stewart High School.
And we need to support our principals when they stand up for discipline in schools.
As demonstrated, opinions remain as varied in Jamaica as they are around the Caribbean. In Barbados, school uniform policies have been temporarily relaxed, but this is due to supply chain constraints rather than any stated shift in perspective on the issue by authorities. Shortages of uniform fabric and ready-made uniforms ahead of the opening of classes prompted authorities in that country to declare a uniform holiday, which will continue until September 30th. Students will be allowed to attend their classes dressed, quote, in a manner appropriate for school, according to the island's government. In this case, plain colored t-shirts, polo shirts, and jeans will be permitted. It remains to be seen if the temporary uniform break in Barbados will result in more flexible uniform policies on the island in the medium or long term.